So I think for women with and women with disabilities and all women in the region, I think for Pacific women shaping Pacific development, it has been a great journey. So since 2012, there has been some positive changes in the region regarding gender equality. Gender inequalities in our countries and our societies are now more visible, and that's perhaps because women are demanding more from the government. They're also spearheading partnerships with partners that also raise awareness and advocate for the elimination of violence, but also gender equality in the broader sense. So the governments are listening. There have been policies developed. And I think women are more than ever standing up, demanding for their rights, but also in terms of gender equality, the equality in society, so to speak. In countries in the region, each country is different, so their development is at different stages. But I think whilst I say there have been positive changes, there's also gaps, and there are issues that are still remaining that needs to be addressed when it comes to gender equality. So we have issues of the regional and national gender priorities that we need to work on. It is important that we have alignment of these gender frameworks or policies that we have in the region. We also need to strengthen our women organizations and machineries in the region, and most importantly in countries, because these are the runners on the ground, if you like, when it comes to gender equality, advocacy, and rights for women. And I think it is important that we also must always highlight that gender-based violence is, it's a huge problem for us. It's endemic in our region, and this is an issue that we always have to highlight in terms of our work as gender equality advocates, if you like. But I think one other important thing that also is an issue for me is that women with disabilities are often not included in programs or projects. So you have all these fancy documents that we have in the region and also in the national level, but there's always a missing link that women and girls with disabilities are not included. So I think going forward from here, there is a need for all of us to work together. So we're talking civil society organizations, intergovernmental bodies, UN agencies, and everybody really in the region and also on the ground, to work together in partnership. And it has to be a strong partnership, It's important for me as a woman with a disability to also highlight that, as a woman with a disability and having experienced discrimination and also, gaps in terms of decision making, it is crucial that we, women, all women, work towards a gender equality world, gender equal world, where everyone, has a seat at the table and is also part of the decision making, and that these decisions are also sustainable and are realistic for us on the ground. And I think for women with disabilities, I would also want to highlight when it comes to funding, women with disabilities are often left out. So it is something that I also want to also highlight, that funding has to be equal as well. And when it comes to that, women with disabilities and their organizations, must be included in this, in that as well. And I guess, in this journey, we cannot afford to leave anyone behind. we jump up and down about leaving no one behind, as the Sustainable Development Goals say. So we can't afford to leave anyone behind. We've been, seeing positive changes, but going forward, I think Pacific Women Lead has to be relevant, and that means all the issues of each woman in all their diversities has to be taken into account, and I would like to see that this that more strength is given to partnerships, and this is even to smaller or perhaps smaller organizations that need a lot of support, and that has to be done, because we cannot be saying equality and not be looking at smaller organizations that may not have stronger structures, and this is where and assist them where it's really needed, really, for women going forward. And of course, women with disabilities must have a seat at the table to be part of the decision making as well. As an outgoing board member of Pacific Women Shaping Pacific Development, it has been a great journey for me, and I hope that my contributions to the board, I have seen changes, especially for disability inclusion within Pacific Women and its work, and I hope that is strengthened and continues to be strengthened in the future. But I am optimistic in terms of gender equality in the region, and we have a lot of powerful women in the region who are, still working and going, traveling on this journey. But I think most importantly, we also need the men, to be with us on this journey. It's only together that we can do so much. Thank you, Thomas.